Good day and welcome back to our mentoring session. And today we have another topic to share with you and discuss with you. It is about how to write Thesis Chapter 5. Chapter 5 is the final chapter of your thesis manuscript. And it is about the summary, findings, conclusion, and recommendations. We are going to have it in 5 minutes. Is it possible? Then we will see. Timer starts now. Here we go. Chapter 5, once again, is about the summary, findings, conclusions, and recommendation of the researchers. And again, in writing this particular chapter, researcher has to consider important, reminders about writing this. Okay? This chapter presents the answers to the questions or problems specified in your SOP, which are carefully presented in chapter 4. So again, you are reminded about your statement of the problems. Okay, so here. Now, the first important item is summary of findings under chapter 5. So, how are you going to write it? Now, let's go back to some important reminders to consider in your writing. Okay, here we go. Findings presented here are summarized, compressed version of the ones written detailed in chapter 4. So remember, in your chapter 4, you are presenting a table, you are presenting your data there, and then you are going to analyze that one by one. Every data has to be presented, okay, from top to bottom of your table. So very detailed, right? Now, in this particular area, now in the summary of findings, you need not to copy and paste those presented in chapter 4, of course, correct? You need to reprocess, and you need to refresh and reframe your statement. It is more like summarize a compressed version of the ones written in detail in your chapter 4. Okay, so meaning to say you are going to present only the highlights, okay, of the um, data now presented or table presented in chapter 4. Okay, more general presentation of findings. Next, so literally, if you have four SOPs, okay, it is also equivalent for findings. So please be reminded on that. So malinaw yung counting dito, yung bilangan, no, ng inyong SOP at yung inyong findings. Dapat plakado yon, malinaw ang bilangan. Okay? So, yun. And then your conclusion. After your findings, um, is the conclusion. Now, under conclusions, ito yung mga reminders naman. Now, conclusions that are presented here are conclusive statements, okay, derived from the above findings. Kung kanina, medyo compressed version lang, highlights lang sa findings, okay, this time when you do your conclusion, it is more than compressed version of your findings. It's more than that. No, it is conclusive enough, to that particular um, presentation of findings. So that is an important reminder, in your conclusion. It should be conclusive statements. Next, so literally under conclusion, again, if you have four findings, it is also equivalent for conclusions. So um, you need to go back to your findings, count them, and um, try to have that part of your conclusion, okay, equivalent to for conclusions also. Okay, so that is a very important reminder. The next is your recommendations as a researcher. Okay, so these are some reminders, no, for you to write your recommendations. Recommendations must be focused on the findings. Okay, it of course it could also be focused on your conclusions, no, and um, from such findings, no, there will be like a low or weak results that are being emphasized, no, in your data. So what are the low or what are the weak uh, findings or results? So spot all those um, weak results, and recommendations for improvement or enhancement are potential for such. 'Di ba sabi nga nila, kapag walang problema, walang excitement to provide recommendation because everything is okay, everything is perfect. But since you're conducting study, and definitely there will be problems, issues, gaps, no, that may arise, no, um, after you process your data, no, in chapter 4 and in chapter 5, okay, then there will be some evidences of low or weak results, okay, for you to recommend better. But take note, no, in terms of recommendations, hindi lamang yung mga low and weak results, no, ang mga potential items for recommendations, even those are results that are significantly high, significantly benchmarkable, no, mga good practices or best practices, system and processes. These are things that um, are very potential also for recommendation. Okay, for purposes of adaptation with other office or agencies or benchmarking by other concerned. Okay, that is also um, very important consideration for you to give good recommendation. So hindi lang yung mga pangit, hindi lang yung mga weak, low results are potentials for recommendations. Maging ang mga good practices, mga best practices, remarkable results ay dapat nailalagay din natin, ay highlight natin sa ating mga recommendation. And another important um, reminder, no, or consideration in writing your recommendation is that you must be specific, no, for whom, para kanino the recommendations are being addressed. So dapat if the recommendation is intended for the managers, then for the managers, okay, to the clerks, to the um, utility people, to the teachers, to the supervisors, something like that. So, i-address natin ng maayos yung ating mga recommendations. Okay? So, I hope that this video, again, enables you to go about your writing in chapter 5. Okay? Chapter 5 is summary of findings, conclusions, and recommendation, the final chapter of your manuscript, right? So thank you so much once again, and thank you for liking and subscribing in this channel. God bless.